Okay, hopefully this will help you with your third project. I'm going to walk you through where you can find the information. For my example, I am going to, in question 1, list the job I want to have, which is what I wanted to have when I graduated, which was mathematics professor. And I clicked on this website, and when I clicked on that website, this is where I landed. So I look at all these national employment and wage estimates for the U.S., and I look down their list and I find one that says education, training, and library occupations. So I'm going to click that link, and then I'm going to look for post-secondary math and computer science teachers. Appears to be here. Mathematical science teachers. There's all kinds of different post-secondary teachers listed here. So I could look at all of them and decide which one suits me the best. But the post-secondary, get back to the top here. Mathematical science teachers post-secondary should be this page right here. And according to this, the mean annual wage is $82,650, but that is nationally. So there's my national salary. Then from there I will go to page 2. It says go to the cost of living index, and using the salary listed above as the reference value, compute the salary you would expect to earn if you work in Johnson City, Tennessee, and show your work. Okay, if you look on the cost of living index, we will go to Johnson City. And the way we get to the Johnson City Index is to scroll all the way to the bottom of this page. And you can actually go to the May 2016 metropolitan and non-metropolitan area occupational employment and wage estimates, which will take you here to a list of all the states. So if I go to Tennessee, Johnson City is actually listed. So if I click on Johnson City, I come to Johnson City employment statistics. So again, I will look at all these different employment areas. I want education, training, and library. And not secondary, but post-secondary. Education, training, and library workers, all other, because looking at all these other categories, None of them really seem to fit the bill. So I'll click on this one. And if I look on this one, if I go to junior colleges, which is the same thing as a community college, or I can go to colleges, universities, and professional schools, without specifically narrowing it down to math, I see that the expected wage is $50,050. So I want to copy that amount, go back to my paper, and in Johnson City, I want you to keep in mind that this is the salary according to the reference. That I looked up. However, if you look at the cost of living index, the appropriate way to do this problem is to take the cost of living index for Johnson City, which is 86.7, and divide that by the salary that we have on the first page, which is the 82,650. And the 82,650 is actually associated with the consumer price index of 100. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to multiply the 82,650 by the 86.7 divided by 100, which is, in other words, if I can get my calculator to go, I'm going to take 86.7 and divide by the index of 100, which is what's associated with the 82,650, and then multiply the result times the 82,650, and I get $71,657.55. So that's how much I should have been able to expect to work in Johnson City. However, the price that was given to me on the site was instead $50,050. And honestly, I will tell you folks, that's a lot more reasonable. double check I've entered all my numbers correctly. Yes. Okay. Now, for the next part, it says if you're making the above salary computed in item 3 in Johnson City, after you've listed your dream location of where to live and work, what salary would you need to keep the same standard of living in your dream city that you enjoy in Johnson City? Well, there's lots of places to look for this, but one of the easiest ways to do this is to determine what your dream location is. For me, I'm going to say that I would love to, actually this is the only place I would want to be, but you know, given the fact that my family's here, I really don't want to move anywhere else. But what if I decided that I wanted to live, for example, in Chicago? How would I figure out what salary that I would have to keep the same standard of living if I lived in Chicago? Well, there's some things that are going to change here. First of all, I need to find the cost of living index for Chicago, and I'm going to need to divide that by the cost of living index in Johnson City. So that means that part's going to have to change. And then I'm also going to have to give the salary that is tied to the Johnson City index because that's the one that I'm using. And see what my new salary is going to be. So what I'm going to do is, rather than dig around in the tables too much, I'm going to go and I'm going to do a search cost of living in Chicago. Don't see what I'm looking for on the first choice. And if I had paid attention and looked right here at the bottom, it says Chicago, Illinois cost of living is $110.90. And housing is the biggest cost of the difference. So let's perform the new calculation. I'm going to take 110.90, divide it by Johnson City's cost of living index, 86.7. And get 1.279, yada, 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 times the $71,657.55. And in Chicago, I would have to make $91,658.85. This is, what is your rent or monthly mortgage amount now? Okay, my rent or monthly mortgage amount right now is $902 a month. There's probably some change, but we'll round it off. What I expect it to be in my dream city? Well, the only thing I'm going to do differently from what I did before is I'm going to replace my $902 with the salary amount, and I'll find out how much my mortgage should be in Chicago. So 110.9 divided by 86.7 gives me 1.279123414, just like it did before. But now I'm going to multiply that times $902 a month. And my mortgage in Chicago would be $1,153.77. Sorry, 77 cents. And that will be for similar housing. How much do I spend on groceries? Well, there's me and my son in my household. And sometimes my granddaughter. So I probably spend about $400 a month in grocery. And that's on the conservative side, because my son buys groceries too. So if I take my same ratio, I could expect to spend $511.64. Okay, so hopefully that will take you how to do portfolio number 3, changing, of course, your occupation for mine and looking up the information that you need for yours. The initial website was only designed to give you an idea of where to start. The rest of it you can actually Google, but I went ahead and showed you all these different branches of this because there are consumer price indexes of various kinds in this database, and you can look up all kinds of information, and you should do your homework before you decide to move somewhere else to live. It's always good to know what to expect when you get there. Let me know if you have questions.